Call Center County Commissioners order for Tuesday, August 17th, 2018. Please join me in the pledge.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Thomas, please.
Please bow your head. Lord, please bless us as we contemplate the county's business today. Bless all of our community members that are here today and keep the spirit of cooperation deep in Seneca County. In your name we pray. Amen.
Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Kirchner?
Here.
Commissioner Stacy? Here. Commissioner Thomas?
Here.
Okay, I'll accept the motion to approve the digital audio video recording of our previous board session from Tuesday, August 7th.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kirchner?
Yes. Okay, adjustments to the agenda. We have a few items here today. I would like to add a short discussion on the AEC since we have the folks here. Do we need to discuss, we'll discuss the separate council, and I have a resolution from Reed Township. Anything else on our old business?
I got an update on the sod and irrigation.
Irrigation? Okay.
And I will, we'll be holding off on the magistrate lighting topic. We have some other options came
Okay.
about, so we're gonna hold off on
That's
this.
good news. Why don't you start with irrigation?
And I was
Oh, I'm
gonna-
sorry, yes.
I will add, regarding this Behind the Facade tour for the Sunday of Heritage Festival weekend. Just an update.
Okay, why don't you start with that? That's something fun.
Sunday following, or on Heritage Festival weekend, set on my calendar, 16th, 17th, whatever that date of September is, the Tiffin Historic Trust is doing their Behind the Facade tour, and in that tour, it's a fundraiser for them. They sell tickets and have certain buildings included, and it's working out nice with the, we talked about this before, and the judges had approved to include the Justice Center in part of that. And so
Second.
just a reminder,
Is that going to be on Saturday or Sunday?
Sunday.
Sunday, the 16th.
16th, okay, thank you.
Okay.
September 16th. So there'll be more information coming out about that. I just wanted to make sure we continue to remember that we as the county had committed to allowing that to happen. We'll work out details, but obviously we'll need a few bodies to help with the tour, depending on how much interest. They'll know ahead of time what they've sold in tickets. They'll still sell some that day, but we'll just need to maybe station a person on each floor and obviously communicate and work with the judges ahead of time to know. Obviously, we're not gonna get in anywhere that we can't, that we can't include in a tour because of records, et cetera, but how that flow will go, but just wanted to mention that again.
Thank you. Another date to mark your calendars for folks is August 25th, which I believe is a Saturday. That is, there are a lot of things going on that day. There is a farmer's market. That's the day that they have the event for all the new college students coming in around the town to show them all the businesses. We are also going to do, in cooperation with the Homeless Coalition, an event called Bounty in the County. And that is that we will have a refrigerated truck parked in the lot for food and other items, household items, to be dispersed to food pantries and shelters for folks that need them. So with the concert that's going on that evening, and with around the town, and with the farmers market, we'll also have a van parked through that will be staffed all day for what we're going to call Bounty in the County. It's sponsored by the Homeless Coalition, and hopefully people will contribute as much as possible. We want to fill that truck up. Tiffin Paper Company, TPC Food Services, has generously donated a refrigerated truck for that day, so it will be here for that event, which is awfully nice.
What time?
It's going to be all day, from the time it's going to be till the evening because of the concert. So it's going to start at 9 a.m. The truck will be in our lot, through the concert, and then they'll get it out of here on Sunday or Monday morning.
Did they do that this weekend? Just
No,
last
they were
week?
going to, but there wasn't enough lead time.
Okay,
So
okay.
there'll be some brochures and some advertisement, et cetera. A lot of folks are cooperating as well. I don't want to mention everybody because I'll forget somebody, but you'll be able to drop off some items. Other places will also bring them here. So I think it'll be a nice day, a nice event. Irrigation.
Yes, we finally got a company to give us a quote on the irrigation that could still do the work this year. So we had anticipated about 32,000 total for everything, and it stays under that. The sod is the 18.5, which judges already gave us $25,000 towards, and the irrigation is $12,996, so it's under the 32,000. This company will be able to start yet this month, if that's okay. I mean, you guys have already given your approval to move forward. I just wanted to let you know at least a time frame, because we were having trouble finding anybody yet that was still able to do it yet this year.
Right.
It was falling.
Well, having spoken with those people that are going to do sod and with the irrigation people, we really, good news turned into bad news, or bad news turned into good news. Had they done the sodding, the way the temperature and the way the weather was, they've done it in a number of other places and lost it. So, because of the lack of moisture. So the good news is, hopefully we have the kind of fall that is conducive to growing grass, and we'll have the irrigation system in, and it'll start nice and green now. So a lawn is soon to come, along with landscaping.
That includes along Market Street in front of juvenile probate.
Does not.
Does not.
No,
It should.
it did not come with that quote. John said he didn't ask for in front of the annex.
Okay. Yeah, I thought we talked about it being everything, but I don't know what they quoted.
Yeah, John said they didn't quote the annex.
Okay, let's see, and I agree with Mr. Thomas, let's get that added and see what that cost is. While we're sprinkling it, we might as well sprinkle the whole doggone thing. Okay, I have, for the record, a resolution dated August the 7th from Reed Township. And the trustees unanimously proclaimed that they asked the Sunday County Commissioners to rescind the alternative energy zone and the pilot program. And a second resolution from the Reed Township trustees, again unanimously, that they asked to give voice to the concerns of the citizen in opposition to the wind turbines. And they intend to intervene with the Ohio Power Siting Board on the Republic Wind project. So as a matter of record, we need to have that included. And since we are talking about that at this point.
Excuse me, Mike.
Yes.
Could I add one thing, sir? Also, the third resolution for the opposition of the Seneca Wind Project. Also, there was 3 resolutions there.
Okay. Did you give me 3 or did
Yes,
I?
sir. I'll give you
Okay.
3. Matter of fact, here
I
is,
appreciate that.
there's 3 more.
All right. I had 2 of them. Somehow I missed the 3rd one. Okay. I appreciate that. All right. Well, we'll go on with the rest of this, and then I do have some comments regarding the ADZ that I'd like to make. But let's get through the new business and go from there. So the sheriff's roof is the first item. on the-
Yes, sheriff's roof. All right, I had scanned a picture. We had a evaluation done on our roofs a couple years ago, and we had some time frames going on. You can see Area 2, Area 1, and Area 4A was replaced last year with insurance claim. We have a significant issue in Area 8. We had patched it maybe 5 years ago. That's supposed to get us another 5 years, where we're at that 5 years. So the recommendation is not to try to repair it again. Total cost for Section 8 is $64,158. they did bid under state term pricing. Yeah, and I don't have my glasses on, so we're gonna, let's see, section 8 is here. And that is one they're suggesting the full replacement. Like I said, they did bid under state term pricing. The other area, area 3, which is on the other side of the building, they are only recommending the repair. They said they think they can catch most of it with a repair and get us another 5 or 10 years. The repair on that for section 3 is about $3,200. And the other issue we have right now is section 7. The only good news is we may be able to get that under warranty. That was the jail expansion project that we did in 2006, so we think this is still under warranty. So they're looking to repair that at no cost. So I just wanted to bring this up, that this is something we're gonna need.
Okay, and the capital improvement money that we've set some aside. and we
Not for
have-
this,
Okay,
not for this one.
okay.
The 64 gets 8 and that repairs over in 3 on the other side.
The 64 gets just replacement of section 8.
And is that Duralast roof? It's a rubber roof?
Yeah.
I mean, is it a 20-year warranty with that stuff?
Yes, yep. The new,
Definitely, yeah, I don't know if the old was, but it's,
yeah, well, that's still the original roof.
no, but I meant on that jail expansion.
Oh, yeah, that's,
Because generally that is a 20-year warranty on
yeah.
that.
I think he said they thought this was a 15, but that's what they're looking at. But still, 15 years covers us
Yeah.
for the warranty work. So section 7, we think it needs some repairs, but they think it's going to be warranty work. So, but I wanted to mention it.
Any other anticipated issues on
Um,
the roofing system?
Not with current leaking. We had repaired area 6.
Can you point that out?
Area 6 here. We had repaired it. It's doing okay. We haven't had any significant leaks in that area.
And that's original?
Yes, yep. The only thing that were replaced, like I said, area, and the ones that are highlighted yellow, those were the ones that got replaced with the insurance claim.
Damage
'Cause,
a couple
yeah.
years ago.
Yeah, because it was actually,
Yeah.
the wind took it and it was,
Right.
they got a video of it waving at us, so that was fun. Never had seen that before, so. But we did have the insurance when they were up here check 8, and, 8 was not part of the weather, the significant wind damage we had done.
Well, when we did the building committee have these discussions, this was one of the priorities
Yep.
that were on, to make sure that it got maintained and or improved, so.
Yeah. And we've been patching it so far yet this year, and it's just got to the point,
Hasn't
talk to
rained
the
much,
sheriff.
so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
talk to the sheriff and his maintenance guy out there, and we had JB come out, and, we've repaired it enough, it's time that we get it replaced, so.
Yeah, I'm just curious if there's other sections that should be contemplated at the same time
Sure.
as opposed
And I-
to just chasing these.
I do have a full report on our server that you can look at the full report. It tells you which years it's recommending each section. It was like a 200-page report, so I didn't print it out.
So are you looking for a motion from us now, or?
If you're okay with it, I'll
direction?
prepare, I just want direction. If we can move forward with this, I can get some,
On some of the stuff we're talking about repairing,
yeah.
since they're up there, I almost wonder if we ought to at least ask for a replacement cost.
The
That's what
replacement
I'm-
cost for number 3 is, they gave us where that. This is section 8. And did I print section 3?
I
Yes.
think you mentioned like 3,200 to fix it up, but
Section 3 to replace is $57,387 to replace that area.
While they're doing the work at the same time, I mean, that's the,
That
while they're
would-
on site doing the work, there'd be another 57,000.
Yes, to replace whole section 3, but they're saying that we could do just the repair,
Okay.
and that would get us another 5-10 years. So
well,
that's,
let's at least consider it. I mean, we should look at it, and I guess that we ought to have some conversation with them. All right.
I can bring it up to them again, and that they went out and reviewed it again, John and JV went out and reviewed.
Okay. I mean, I don't want to
Reviewed it
spend
again.
money, but if we're just patching things, been asking for a while. I think that's a good idea. Okay.
So you want to think about it and
Yeah,
you can review this.
certainly willing to move forward on the section that needs replaced. And the repair, I have the same question that Mike does. Is it money better spent to go ahead and replace the
Because it's
repair?
original.
It's original, and we're just
And,
passing that to future board.
Yep.
Okay. All right, well, what, do you have a formal resolution here for that at this point?
I can
Or
do
you-
it.
You already got the money, you're just looking for direction.
Well, I'll need to do
We'll move
the,
some money around.
we'll move some, but I can do that prepared for next week.
Okay.
But I'll see if I can get, I'll ask that question again about the replacement if, that,
Yeah, and it'd be nice to have
We-
John's recommendation and.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you can get back to work if you want. You're
Okay.
on the agenda. What can we do? Mrs. Ritzler?
Well, we received some money from the Secretary of State's office
Okay,
to
thanks a lot.
to help fund some mandates. So we've got some mandates that are not unfunded. We got $16,000 for what they're calling a remote ballot tracking system. And this enables a voter to receive an accessible ballot securely and privately, a disabled individual. The voter can access, read, and mark his or her ballot using the remote ballot marking system and any necessary assistive technology. What this does is we can send a ballot to somebody either electronically or through the mail, and then they can use their own marking system at home using a screen reader or something like that. They print it out and mail it back to us. So, we received the $16,000 for that. We contracted with our voter registration vendor Triad to use their system. And then we got, I think, $3,238 somewhere in that neighborhood for poll worker training. Typically, our current Secretary of State, every governor's general election and presidential general election mandates that all poll workers be trained. So they help with the funding of that since they're mandating that. And of course, the big news is we got the $648,000 will be coming for our new voting equipment. And so we invite you to that September meeting for the demonstration. That is with our current vendor that we've had a long-standing relationship with. We are still looking at others. We're not ruling out looking at other vendors, but they've been in the game the longest and they have a pretty proven track record. So.
What's the long-term maintenance agreement with the one you're looking at this point in time? That concerns me as much as anything else that's going on.
That is the problem with our current vendor is the long-term maintenance and updates and those kinds of things get to be a little hefty. I have their bid at the office. I don't know if I forwarded to Stacy, but I'll get that to you guys.
But does that include some long-term maintenance and a long-term maintenance agreement?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So, I mean, that would be then included theoretically in the price?
Up to a certain.
Up to a certain level.
Correct.
Is there a drop dead date when we have to make that decision?
We would like to have the decision made so we can implement for the May primary.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We'd like to kind of be on the forefront, so we've got 2 elections before the presidential instead of just one.
Pioneers get shot.
There's a lot of other counties already doing it. There's other counties that will now actually be reimbursed that have gone ahead and used the new voting equipment, so.
Okay.
So people will be voting the same old way in November?
Correct.
And then
Correct.
then in the May primary of 19?
We would like to be, that's our goal,
Okay.
you know. If we get there, fantastic. If we roll it out in November, you know, it's not gonna be the end of the world. But everybody, don't panic, there will be a paper trail. It might not be the typical standard paper ballot, but there is a paper trail.
So you are asking us for about $16,000, is that what you're asking?
Advance, right?
No, we received the $16,000.
Okay. All
We
right.
just want you to give it back to us. And the $3,000 for the poll worker training. We already deposited that, and so we just want it back.
Properly being used. The money approved for the new voter equipment, separate from these others, is that to be whatever we select and we can spend all of that, or up to 80% up to that dollar amount is how much they'll give us, or Because
We
there's
have
differences in
600
pricing on what we've had, right?
Oh, yeah, there's definitely,
Yeah.
you know, they've got the standard package, the deluxe package,
Sure.
you know, all the way
Right.
around. But we get the full 648,000.
So we get that, whether that covers 100% of it or
Exactly.
80% of it or whatever. That is the full
Yep.
amount Seneca County receives, and then we
Absolutely.
got to choose, okay.
Yep.
Thank you,
And if
that's
we
right.
don't spend the 648, we get to keep for other, there's other uses that we can use it for.
Like the sheriff's roof?
Not that, not that, not that.
So are they
Collection
a certain
related,
date they're
right?
gonna get that?
Okay, so,
Could be, they help with the
Well,
security.
our board and with you folks will need to make a decision on what vendor we want to use, and then decide, do we just want to replace the ADA equipment? Do we just want to replace everything and call it a clean slate and have everything new? Because all of our stuff is, I think, 15 to 20 years old, so.
And is that ours to dispose of?
The vendor will take that back and give us credit for, they don't want that technology out there.
Probably 50% on the face value original, right?
I 70 maybe, but they did put that on the quote too. I think they were gonna give us like $70,000.
Oh, wow.
But you know, honestly, what are we gonna do with it?
That's
You know,
right.
come
That's
get
better
it,
than-
get it
that's
out
better
of
than
here. I
nothing.
mean, it then becomes their responsibility. We don't have to find a way to dispose of it, and so, yeah. So they'll
okay, your
come.
pleasure, folks, I need a motion to reimburse.
I have them, I can
It's all
just
You
read
already
them.
got it?
It's in
Okay,
resolutions.
very good. I'll make that private, so I think you'll be happy with the result.
All right. And Commissioner Thomas, we are just about there on the window display.
Oh, good. I saw somebody in there painting the other day.
Yep. We're working with Claire Sullivan, a Tiffin University student. She's getting some banner ideas ready for us that we can take to one of the local printers and make banners to put in front window, so
Excellent.
we're getting there.
It's looking good.
All right, thank you
Thank
for all your
you.
time and support, appreciate
Thank
it.
you, Lori. Okay, master planning, south of town, our little session that we had. Do an update here.
So I think I appreciate everybody's participation. We got a lot of our stakeholders together 2 weeks ago down south of town on our campus, and we had 2 hours of pretty robust conversation, a lot of networking and social capital building, reintroducing ourselves to one another, and I think we brought up some issues that we certainly want to talk about for the long term. And so we've captured that information and we'll be getting a report back on that, but we're at the point now of if we want to do next steps. And so I did ask CT to give me some idea of what their next steps might be. And so this is kind of what they came up with, a high-level view, no cost associated with it. But essentially taking those existing partners, the jails, the engineer, the soil and water, everybody who's out there, and having the conversation and establish needs, create a list of existing users. I think we took a good step towards that just by identifying people who are out there, reviewing the existing sites to understand their condition, and the auditor's office is working on square footage. Conduct more in-depth interviews with the individuals, and then come back with a review of those findings. One of the things that I think is important is we actually need to determine people's space needs. We've put them in offices that were there, not necessarily based on their demand, but based on space that we had. And space that's been retrofitted, so it's really more of a cram down than the other way around. What future needs are, and then we can review that. Then it becomes an exercise of evaluating the existing facilities and the existing facility needs, and make some determination if we want to renovate, demolish, move offices, and that's a significant step to go that far. That begins to identify some of the issues that we've raised about the county ag building and the old juvenile probate and the park out there. It becomes a more significant step, and then finally actually moving to design on some of these concepts. So those are next steps, But, you know, we can take, you know, any time and discuss what we thought about the process, and if we wanted to take next steps. I mean, I know, Mike, you have some concern that we need to incorporate more of county property in.
Yeah, I don't know that's a concern, but I think that we have already established a strategic plan and a strategic planning process. One of the silos of that process is our grounds and maintenance and buildings. And this is a great idea to talk about, you know, specifically the South End, but we also have a number of buildings in this area. So I think that it ought to be a discussion. I certainly welcome these folks to handle that, but we've got an ongoing schedule of strategic planning sessions specifically dealing with buildings. We've talked about all these buildings as well and toured them previously. I just think that we, you know, rather than have two separate discussions, it ought to be a discussion, because it's one pot of money as opposed to something specific to the south and specific to the downtown. So as many needs as we have on the south part of the county with our buildings, we have those similar needs to some of the buildings we have down here.
We've learned an awful lot with this session, and we've learned too much to not continue to do something with it. If we finish establishing the needs, does that get that list up to comparison where you're at with the other list?
Yes, I think
Okay.
so.
So then they'd be all at the same level, and then kind of, if we merged it together, obviously knowing that when you start talking about the parking and the, you know, the layout of anything out, that is impacted differently there, and downtown is separate, but I
Well,
think that would.
I think the end game is to be proactive with this stuff, understand what costs we have into the future, and don't think that we have some money in an account that we're never gonna have to use. We know that we've got it. I mean, there's examples in the past of not maintaining buildings, and we know what's happened to them. So the idea here is, with everyone, is to make certain that we identify any potential problems. As Shane said, you know, to identify space needs. We've got some buildings out there that have too much space, frankly, that people rattle around in. We've got buildings that should have been torn down a long time ago. You know, hopefully we can have some, Commissioner Stacy has worked with Ohio State Extension, and hopefully we can talk about sometime having an ag building specifically for that reason, that maybe we cooperate with them and get some funding for. So, and then in addition to that, we have a lot of open space out there. I mean, the idea is that when we decide what we're gonna do with these buildings, and somewhere along the way maybe build another building, to configure it so it makes sense to add on to, or so that the you know, the driving and the ingress and egress makes sense. Right now, it's just one here, one there, one over here, and who knows where the next one might be. So just an overall plan that makes sense for everybody.
Yeah, that was one of the surprises for me, is the transportation issues that some folks have out there, getting
Yeah.
people around, even in between the buildings. So that there's certainly some work to do. The nightmare scenario is that we have a major repair on, say, the ag building, and we have to make a decision, you know, do we want to bury $100,000 in that building when it's not on our master plan? So that's, you know, that's the.
It makes sense, and we still have, you know, we still have the issue of storage. We don't really have a final solution to that. I mean, I know we've got put some Band-Aids on it, but, you know, but there probably ought to be an archival center and a storage center that are temperature controlled, humidity controlled, that makes sense somewhere along the way. Okay.
So, next steps, do you want me to have CT give us a cost estimate to get us through the establishment of needs, or through the business analysis, get that cost from them?
Yeah, I mean, what I'd like to see is us to get the strategic planning committee together again, specifically talking about master planning for buildings, for the county, all buildings. Include these people in that conversation, and also, you know, the person that's moderating it, and try to lump everything into a priority list, so we know what, you know, which we kind of talked about, what absolutely has to be done, what would be nice, and what's the Christmas list, and come up with a plan. Okay. All right. I know we have some folks here that want to make a decision. I have got, because of the fact that I have got another, or that we have received another member motion to intervene. I think we now have, on the AEC, I think we now have 3 townships or 4 townships who have, this is my PowerPoint, I'm not the fancy guy. We have Adams, Reed, and Scipio Township who have made a resolution to intervene. I wanted to talk about the AEZ briefly here, and this isn't coming from anybody, but it's kind of the research that I talked about and I did, trying to understand exactly what the reasons are that we have it, and you know, what good is it to the county? So I'm trying to justify it. So when we talk about the AEZ and basically the pilot program, we're talking about the $9,000 per megawatt. So what is a megawatt and what's it worth? Well, a megawatt, according to my research, is worth about $150 in value per hour. So if we take that $150 times 24 hours, obviously, which is a day, times 365, in theory, if they were a full generation, they generate $1.3 million per megawatt per year. According to their own calculations, that being the energy companies, they're about 8% efficient. Okay. So if we take that $1.3 million times 8%, we come up with $105,000 in generating of income, megawatt income. And we're telling them that your cost is going to be $9,000 per megawatt. So if you divide that out, we're taxing them at a rate of 8.56%. And that's guaranteed for the life of the AEZ and the life of the pilot. It seems to me that, well, not only seems to me, that the current corporate tax rate on income is 29.6%. If we apply that to this number, this $31,115, what we're telling them is we're going to give them $9,000 in cost a year. And we're telling them they have that $9,000 in cost for the rest of the AEZ period, the rest of the pilot program period. I don't know of any other situation in which we give somebody a figure, a cost, and guarantee it into the future, into the next 20 or 30 years. That makes no sense to me. So I'm trying to understand how this in any way protects the county. In fact, I think it puts us at risk and the people at risk. So if the efficiency improves beyond the 8%, or if the dollar value of a megawatt, we all know what happens to energy costs. I mean, gasoline is double the price it was 10 years ago. So if the megawatt is $300, this becomes a tax rate of somewhere about 4.5% to 4.2%, because the rate is fixed, no matter what happens. And if they happen to be more efficient, according to their records, according to their information, the maximum output is at 28 miles an hour, and when it gets to 31 miles an hour, they shut it off. Many farms are generating efficiencies of 10 or 12%. So these numbers all change at this point. So, and then we talked a little bit about the road use maintenance agreement. Well, obviously, that can always be negotiated at the time that a power company will come to us. And in fact, I've talked to a couple of commissioners in Indiana, and they not only got what their normal road use maintenance agreement are, but they also got them to widen some roads because their equipment was going to be larger than some of the stuff they use, so that they got more improvement above and beyond the road use maintenance agreement that was already there. Based on the fact that we have the AEZ and the pilot, that we are basically compromising what our tax rate ought to be. And I talked to Julie briefly, and if this were a project of typical nature, we're somewhere about 60, Julie, help me out here, where are we at with millage?
We use 60 mils as an example.
60 mils. I mean, if we tax this project at 60 mils, and let's say each of the turbines are worth $1 million, we're talking about income for the county of somewhere about $3.2 million. If each of the turbines were worth $1 million, just to try to do a round figure. So, a current tax rate of 29.6%, that's the lowest tax rate there is. That 9,000, if they had to pay it, becomes 31,115 per megawatt. And if each of them are doing 3 or 4 megawatts, you can multiply it and see what the number is. We have intervening petitions from Adam, Reed, Scipio. At this point, 3 of the basically 6 townships that are most affected by this, so half of them. We have pending from Pleasant and somebody else.
York and Snuffy counties.
Yeah. So, you know, having said all that, I don't understand, you know, I have to write this stuff down, I have to see it in front of me. I don't understand how we think $9,000 protects the county and how that is in any sense a good deal. Again, would we guarantee somebody a cost or an expense of $9,000 for any project fixed over the next 30 years? That defies logic to me. In addition to this, we have a petition signed by somewhere north of 2,000 people, 2,300 people who are asking us to rescind the AEC. So, based on this information and based on what I think has to be in the best interest of the county, to be able to negotiate with these power companies a much larger number if they do indeed happen to construct these projects, and at least make it a sliding scale of some percentage, rather than put ourselves in a position where we get less and less of a percentage as years go on. And waiving all the taxes that would have been involved in a project of this magnitude that would have meant literally millions of dollars to the county coffers in the form of real estate taxes. You know, why would we give all this up? So, having said that, and I know what the answer is going to be, I am going to once again move that we rescind the alternative energy zone and that we rescind the pilot program. And I would ask for a second. Okay. Hearing none, then the motion fails. So, any other discussion about the alternative energy zone, folks?
I'm just gonna make one statement. When I've talked about what I feel that the alternative energy zone protects the county, I very clearly stated at the time, and again, and I'll state it again, is it's about the road use maintenance agreement, it's about the emergency training, it's about the education, and a number of other things that come under the responsibility of the energy company under an AEZ that they're obligated and mandated to do through that legislation. The pilot payment is essentially separate, but we're accepting it with it, and then that comes into play, your 9,000 per megawatt that you receive on an annual basis once they are permitted and it's operational.
Well, my response to that is that we negotiated the $9,000 in 2011. $9,000 in 2018 is a whole different number from 2011. You know, one of the examples is we got the Justice Center estimates back in 2010-11, and we were hoping to get it done for $10 million. It cost us $15 million. So that $9,000 number is a stagnant number. What is the real value of that as it was 7 years ago? And what will the value of $9,000 be down the road? When it comes to road use maintenance agreements, we can, as I had stated earlier, negotiate each deal and make certain that the road use maintenance agreement is done and maybe get a better deal than we have based on what exists now. The protection, this is to me the opposite of protecting the county, because you would be able to negotiate each deal as it came forward, as opposed to saying, here's a number that was established 7 years ago, we're going to stay with that. In fact, we're going to stay with that for the next 30 years of the life of the AEZ. That makes absolutely no logical sense to me. None. And you know, we have 11 counties out of 88 who have approved this. That's 14.5%. Why we think we're smarter than the other 77 counties is beyond me. Getting elected doesn't make you any smarter. I guarantee you that. I can tell you that from personal experience.
Only depends where the money goes.
Okay. So if that motion fails, I guess we go on with new business. What we have here.
I have a supplemental permanent appropriations to the general fund, putting $16,000 into the Board of Elections contract service line. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations to the general fund, is putting $3,283.32 into the salary precinct workers line. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations to the maintenance and repair fund. And Mark's putting $39,863.59 into his contract project line. And I have an appropriation adjustment within the general fund, moving $1,190 from supplies to contract services. And this is at the request of Common Pleas 1. And I have a resolution authorizing Seneca County Board of Commissioners to enter into the issue 1 round 32 cooperative agreement with Seneca County Township Board of Trustees. This is for issue 1 round 33. Hearing for next year. Okay. And that's all I have.
Okay.
Motion to accept?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Commissioner Percy?
Yes.
Motion to go into executive session, discuss personnel?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, and a second, to go into executive session. Roll call?
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Commissioner Percy?
Yes.